The Law Commission proposal says you will need to compulsorily register your marriage. You may also need to mandatorily link your wedding certificate to your Aadhaar card.
After recommendations of making marriage registration compulsory within 30 days of the wedding ceremony with no exception given to any religious community, the Law Commission has now suggested linking marriage registration with the Aadhaar number to check fraudulent marriages.
Activists and lawyers welcome the proposal because the move would help in better implementation of an already existing law which prevents child marriage, bigamy and polygamy. But the suggestion to link Aadhaar with marriage registrations has sparked a controversy.
Actually, it is a good move. Aadhaar linking with Aadhaar is a good move regarding marriage, because you know that a particular identification will come. Nobody can escape from this.
The privacy with Aadhaar cards, I don't think it's that good. Recently there have been many cases where lots of Aadhaar cards have been hacked.
I don't think Aadhaar card is necessary for us, because I don't know, we have plenty of cards. We have passport, driving license, we have many ID cards, we have 10 standard. All the things are linking to our address, so I don't think Aadhaar card is necessary, and we are linking everything towards Aadhaar card.
I am not a big believer in it. I believe that the scam that has already happened speaks a lot of what has gone behind it. So I don't think it necessarily needs to happen.
The Aadhaar was meant to be proof of identity, which does not profile people based on caste, religion, income, health and geography.
Registration is very important because we can avoid child marriages in that. And moreover, the dispute. If the husband says, she is no more my wife and all, so either side, it is not one side. Both the wife and the husband, it's a document. They can claim anywhere, anytime.
At the right time, at the right consider that the government, it is going to regulate the Marriages Act.
What the centre is doing to link it, it is very good.
Once the Aadhaar is linked to marriage, is the government now nullifying its own claim to keep the unique identification authority away from personal details? Mirror Now report.
Good evening, you're watching the Urban Debate on Mirror Now. The question that we're asking tonight: should your marriage certificate be linked to your Aadhaar card? This is a recommendation that's come in from the Law Commission to the Law Ministry, asking that Aadhaar or the unique identification be used every time a marriage is registered. Now, it also recommends that registering of all marriages be made compulsory. I agree. All marriages should in fact be registered. But is it necessary to link our Aadhaar information now to our marital information and our marital status? Will that give the Aadhaar database perhaps information about our religion? Will it give the Aadhaar database far too much access into our personal lives? Does it in any way step on the toes of privacy? A case that the Supreme Court bench is hearing right now. That's the question we're asking tonight. While it is important to register all marriages and make all of that information official and documented because it's part of law, is it important to link that information to our Aadhaar cards? Our phone lines are open and we welcome our viewers' opinions as well. But joining me on the show this evening, Aijaz Ilmi, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Clyde Crasto, Spokesperson of the NCP, Abha Singh, advocate and activist and very, very strong feminist voice, Ramakanth Gaur, Senior Advocate with the Supreme Court, Apar Gupta is a lawyer with the Supreme Court who's currently representing several Aadhaar PILs, Dr. Zeenat Shauqat Ali, Director General, World Institute of Islamic Studies for Dialogue. We're very, very happy to have her in the studio as well. Maulana Mohammad Sajid Rashidi, who's the President of the Kul Hind Imam Association. I welcome all of you to this conversation. I'm going to start with Abha Singh. Abha Singh, we've had several conversations here on this channel about the rights of women, all women in India, when it comes to marriages and then divorce. Do you think it's important to identify us with our Aadhaar information to make sure that women have better rights?
See, the main issue here is whether a marriage should be registered or not. In fact, when the Supreme Court as early as 2006 was listening into a petition filed by a deserted women, this is the time Justice Ajit Pasayat said that I think the marriages should be registered so that a woman can get her maintenance, custody, and unscrupulous husbands, this was the word, unscrupulous husbands would not take their innocent women, their wives, for a ride. So to that extent, marriage registration is required. and it would be registered irrespective of any community, be it the different sects, because there would be Muslim persons with their different marriage procedure, but the court said we are not concerned with the procedure. Only thing is, end result, you register the marriage. So it would be the Hindu Marriage Act, the Special Marriage Act, and other religions what they have. But the issue now is, today when the Law Commission, the 270th Law Commission recommends that you link it to the Aadhaar card. That is what worries us as feminists. You register it, no problem, because it would embolden the woman. But at the moment, the way the data protection is, the way there is leakages in data which is kept for Aadhaar card, that is prone to be misused. You were very right, Faye, when you said whether it is an interreligious marriage, if it is a Hindu-Muslim marriage, or if it is a marriage between this same community, like you have honor killings, would it not compromise the security of such marriages is my concern. Either you have data protection laws foolproof and then go ahead with it. But just like that, doing it, we would be compromising a lot of sensitive marriages, which we call seeing the state of affairs which India is going through.
Right, I want to bring in Ramakanth Gaur, senior advocate. Where do you stand on this, Ramakanth Gaur? We're in general agreement, I think, that all marriages should be registered. But using the Aadhaar information to link and verify people, is that something you think should be done?
See, the sanctity of Aadhaar is still being questioned. Supreme Court has passed specific order. The constitutional bench of the Supreme Court has passed an order. I want to quote the excerpt of that. It says, the Union of India shall give wide publicity in electronic and print media, including radio and television network, that it is not mandatory for a citizen to obtain an Aadhaar card. So when Supreme Court's constitutional bench has already held that the matter is still sub judice and it is not mandatory for a citizen to have this Aadhaar card, then where is the question of linking this with marriage certificates? So this is something which is very important. Law Commission might have proposed something to the government of India, but once the Aadhaar sanctity is being questioned and it is under examination, under the scrutiny of Supreme Court, then this question is still premature. This issue is still premature and the government should not and cannot go ahead with this.
But Apar Gupta, while Ramakanth Gaur might think the issue is premature of whether or not Aadhaar should be made compulsory, it's already being linked to our PAN cards. We cannot file our returns this year unless we link, and we have to file our returns. That's not a choice.
Right,
so in some backdoor entry, it has been made compulsory already, and this only makes it worse. So imagine if you cannot register your marriage without linking your Aadhaar cards. If you don't have an Aadhaar card, you effectively cannot get married. If you cannot get married, you cannot add your spouse's name to your passport. You cannot add your spouse's name as a nominee onto your investments and your bank accounts. You cannot add your spouse's name onto your child's admission. You cannot get your child admitted without an Aadhaar card right now. So I mean, Ramakanth Gaur, if you're still arguing whether or not this is compulsory, I think we've long passed that period at this point. It's been made compulsory one way or the other. Apar Gupta.
Yes, today I read a very interesting tweet, and it said that for a district roller skating competition, not only the Aadhaar of the child, but even the Aadhaar of the parents was required. Now, this helps us understand that there is no limitation today to the Aadhaar project, and it's being used for all manner and purposes without any sense of what is the benefit which results from linking Aadhaar and what's the risk. Now, especially when you link Aadhaar and we are talking about privacy, another aspect which I just want to bring in here to open up the debate is also the authentication failures which result from the biometrics in Aadhaar. So I suppose if I place my thumb on a Aadhaar device and my thumbprint does not match the thumbprint which was initially scanned in the database, what happens? Am I not able to register my marriage? And yes, this is a practical instance which has resulted in the district of Ranchi, where Aadhaar has been mandatory for the registration of any kind of land transfers, where daily registrations even of genuine bona fide buyers has dropped drastically because they are just not able to authenticate and prove that they are the person that they are claiming to be, which in fact they are.
Well, obviously now I have to bring in Clyde. You will obviously get an opportunity to rebut after the representative of the BJP has spoken. Aijaz Ilmi, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Please tell us, why is the government in such a tearing hurry to link Aadhaar to everything when the Supreme Court is still examining the issue?
Well, let's not actually divert ourselves from the importance of getting all marriages registered in our country. So the government is not into the business of trying to find out or looking at how one gets married and how procedures are followed or customs are followed in solemnization of marriages. We are only concerned primarily with all marriages should be registered, understanding the widespread child crimes, bigamy, polygamy, and other fraudulent methodologies that are used in the institution of marriage. So there is an important imperative for the sake of registration.
There's a unanimous support for registration of marriages. Aijaz Ilmi, I think the entire panel agrees with you that marriages should be registered. The thing that we can't quite, wash down tonight is the idea of linking our Aadhaar information to our marriage certificates. I don't understand it. Please explain it to me. Why are we doing this?
No, okay. It's a suggestion. The suggestion has come from the Law Commission. Obviously, the amendment to the Act of Birth and Death 1969 will be introduced as the bill in Parliament. There will be people from all walks of life, all political parties debating this. So it's not cast in stone. There is a long way for this discussion to happen, for the better points to be incorporated in the ultimate bill that will be passed to enable the government to allow registration of marriages. So I think we are a couple of steps away. You should not look at this as a finality, as a final diktat given by the Law Commission, and the government has received this. There will be a discussion in the form of a bill, and I think the best practices suitable for the country, which doesn't discriminate in any manner, will be adopted.
Where do you stand personally, Aijaz Ilmi, on the matter of linking Aadhaar information to marriage certificates?
Well, personally, I mean, I understand. I recently got my Aadhaar card made, and suddenly I wondered that if I don't get my Aadhaar card made, my returns may not be filed. So I understand with 95-96% penetration of the Aadhaar card, it has become imperative, and everybody is going to use it because it's become the premier unique identification number that is given to all citizens. So it's going to get more and more ingrained in our systems, and it's something that we have to get used to. So I'm not against Aadhaar, but I'm saying that more and more people will get linked onto Aadhaar, so the penetration will be much larger, and these problems, once we start accepting Aadhaar as an additional identity, which could be mandatory, could be used in various functions, then I think this opposition to these points will go away.
So imperative, yes. Premium, I disagree. Also, while you didn't actually answer my question, Clyde, his answer is basically that once you get used to it, the discomfort won't hurt anymore. Sensory adaptation. That if there is a bad smell in your house, after a few hours, you will stop noticing it. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's a fair argument to the fact that we've not been able to secure the Aadhaar information yet. There are lots of leaks. There are lots of problems. Until we are able to give our citizens and give the citizens... Yeah, okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Aijaz.
No, we owe it to our citizens that the question of privacy has to be addressed. The question of data theft has to be addressed. Up till now, the people who initiated Aadhaar, even Nandan Nilekani, he said it's a very secure system. There have been instances, but all these glitches need to be overcome because we can't allow data theft, privacy to be in other people's computers and people misusing these things. There's no gainsaying. We have to strengthen these systems so that citizens feel secure about the data and it's not open for misuse by any sector, whether it's government or private.
I agree with you. I just wish we hadn't made it compulsory for filing taxes before we made it secure. You're right. We have to make it secure. There is no choice. But we should have done that before we made it compulsory. Clyde, go ahead.
You know, the point here, the BJP spokesperson making is, like you fairly said, they just keep pushing at things, and at some point you have to accept it and go on because you have no choice left. Now, having said that, now the question comes up here is that, when you're linking your Aadhaar Okay, fair enough. You know, we all agree, like you said, that we should register marriages, which is really good. But the point here is when you are linking your Aadhaar to this, now there's a question of privacy, which, you know, we've all gone through this. You know, it leaks out and has leaked out, you know, in the recent past. Now the point here is, if you're going to look at the suggestion that says that, you know, it's going to prevent child marriage or it's going to prevent polygamy, bigamy, fair enough. But while you're linking your Aadhaar card, and when the information is given out, are you only going to give out information whether it is the age of the people getting married, or are they married or not married? Are they, you know, kind of not cheating? Is that the only information you're going to give out? That's the question that's we are going to ask, because if you're going to you know, link it and give out all kinds of information, there are a lot of questions going to come out in terms of religion, like Abha ji said. So the point here is, they are not sure what they want this for. So if you're not sure, you're going to just push it and keep linking Aadhaar left, right and center for just about everything without being sure of what they actually want out of it, and then saying that we are trying to prevent this and that. They need to get their act together, get the facts together, and actually present it in a way that this is the reason why we are doing this. Right. If you're not going to do it, it doesn't make any sense.
Dr. Ilmi, give me a second. Let me bring in the other voices on the panel as well, and then you can answer all of them. Zeenat Shauqat Ali joins us right now. Zeenat, do you believe, yes, and we are in agreement, Abha Singh is in agreement, that if we register all marriages, it will then secure the rights of women? But Aadhaar cards?
I agree with you. As a matter of fact, to me it is a little strange as to, you know, when such an important thing as registration is happening for the first time in our country, because right now we only have it in certain states and other states don't have it, and we don't, all religions across India don't have it. Since we're making it into a common factor, you know, regarding India and marriages, I think, which is very healthy. Why did we have to first, in the first place, bring about the Aadhaar also? You see, registration by itself is, you know, documentation. It gives you protection. It gives you, you know, within the, you know, format of the marriage contract itself. There are many, you know, details that have to be filled in, which guard your privacy. At the same time, you know, ensure that, you know, the necessary information is put within that. For example, whether you're married or whether you're not married, whether you're a divorcee, what is your age, what is your address, who are your, you know, so within the marriage contract. So I think that, you know, it's, you know, putting the cart before the horse right now. And as has been spoken by the other panelists, that, you know, since it is being linked already, you know, to your bank accounts, it seems imperative that at some stage you are forced to accept it. And that, I think, should not happen. There should be a debate on it. There should be questioning on it. There should be, you know, a consensus that has to be raised on it.
We are a democracy. We are a democracy at the end of the day. Nothing is compulsory without a conversation. There has to be a debate, and the argument that eventually you will get used to it, I'm sorry, is not good enough for me tonight. Maulana Mohammad Sajid Rashidi, क्या आपको लगता है कि आधार कार्ड रजिस्ट्रेशन के साथ लिंक करनी चाहिए? Okay. Maulana Rashidi, do you believe that the Aadhaar card should be linked to?
एक बात तो ये है कि
जी, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. मैं बोल रहा हूँ.
जी.
मैं दो बातें यहाँ कहना चाहता हूँ. एक बात तो ये है कि जब हिंदुस्तान का संविधान बना था, उस वक्त में हमारी तीन चीज़ों को बिल्कुल संविधान से अलग रखा गया था, जिसमें एक निकाह है, एक तलाक है, एक वरासत है. आज इसको मैरिज सर्टिफिकेट से जोड़कर आधार से लिंक करने की क्या ज़रूरत पेश आई? आपको इस बात का एहसास नहीं है कि संविधान में कहीं ना कहीं फेरबदल करना पड़ेगा, और ये इतना आसान नहीं है. पहले आप पार्लियामेंट में एक बिल लाइए, उस पर बहस कीजिए, उसको पास कराइए, संविधान को चेंज कीजिए, उसके बाद में कहीं ना कहीं इसका नंबर आता है. दूसरे, जो लॉ कमीशन ने एक रिकमेंडेशन भेजी है, उसमें एक जो पॉइंट दिया है कि पोलोगेमी में इस पर रोक लगेगी. आप क्या चाहते हैं कि मुसलमान, जिस मुसलमान का बेस ये है कि वहाँ 4 शादियाँ जायज़ है, तो क्या आप उन 4 शादियों पर अंकुश लगाना चाहते हैं? जहाँ हिंदू धर्म में 2 शादी जायज़ नहीं, वहाँ हिंदू लोग भी 3-3 शादियाँ कर रहे हैं, 4-4 शादियाँ कर रहे हैं, लेकिन मेरे यहाँ तो बाकायदा 4 शादियाँ जायज़ हैं. तो क्या आप उसको अंकुश लगाना चाहते हैं, उसको रोकना चाहते हैं? तो ये कहीं ना कहीं हमारे प्रश्न के अंदर मुदाखलत है, हम इसको बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकेंगे। हमारा प्रश्न बिल्कुल अलग है।
Maulana ji, I'm going to bring in Zeenat here, and I just want to point out, and I know Aijaz will want to respond as well. I want to point out that this registration in no way changes any of the laws according to what the Law Commission has submitted. It says all of the personal laws as they stand continue to stand that way. They just insist that all marriages be registered. Zeenat.
मौलाना साहब, जो अभी फे ने कहा है, आई थिंक इट्स वेरी मच टू द पॉइंट, लेकिन जब आप कह रहे हो कि पोलिगमी सैंक्शन्ड अंडर द लॉ है, तो पहले से मुझको आप ये बताएं कि जब सूरा नंबर 4 वर्स नंबर 127 में ये आया है कि यू कैन नेवर डील जस्टली विथ योर वाइव्स इवन इफ यू वांट टू, और सूरा नंबर 4 में जब सूरा निसा में जब ये बात आई है तो उसमें बहुत कंडीशन से बैटल ओहद हो रहा था और वुमेन वहाँ बेवाए हो रही थी, उनका कोई प्रोटेक्शन नहीं था, तो एक सिस्टम था। तीसरी बात यह है कि रसूल सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की शादी हुई 25 साल की उम्र में। एक लेडी जो थी हजरत खतीजा, जो उम्मुल मोमिनीन जो हजरत खतीजा थी, उनकी एज 40 थी। जब तक कि वो 53 के नहीं हुए और जब तक कि उनका इंतकाल नहीं हुआ, उन्होंने दूसरी निकाह नहीं किया, और उन्होंने निकाह जब किया जब वॉर का सिचुएशन था और विमेन बेवाएं हो रही थी। तो आप आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट कैसा पोलिगमी को बता रहे हैं मौलाना साहब?
आप मुझसे सवाल कर रहे हैं कि मुझे बताना चाहते हैं, या आप मुझसे सवाल कर रहे हैं कि बता रहे हैं
मुझको मेरे पॉइंट कंप्लीट करने दीजिए। बेस्ड ऑन दिस बहुत सारी मुस्लिम कंट्रीज ने पोलिगमी पे रिस्ट्रिक्शंस रखे हैं और बहुत सारी कंट्रीज ने पोलिगमी को कंप्लीटली रिमूव कर दिया है। तो आप ये नहीं कह सकते हो कि बस ये हमारे वहाँ जायज़ है। ये अल्फाज जो आप इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो, वो लोग समझते हैं कि बस मुसलमान को दूसरा कोई काम नहीं है, बस यही काम है कि दूसरी निकाह कर ले।
आप कैसे अल्फाज इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं कि जायज़ नहीं कह सकते? क्यों जायज़ नहीं कह सकते भाई?
इमोशनल कंडीशंस में ये है कि
सूरह निसा में ये जिस आयत का आपने हवाला दिया है, क्या कहीं वहाँ लिखा है कि आप दो शादी नहीं कर सकते?
एक बात तो मौलाना जी आप उनको बोलने नहीं दे रहे,
बात करने नहीं दे रहे।
क्या मना किया गया है कुरान में?
आप बीच में मत बोलिए।
I want to bring in Dr. Aijaz Ilmi, national spokesperson of the BJP. Dr. Ilmi, do you want to respond to this?
मैं इसलिए टोक रहा हूँ आपको। कुरान में कहीं ऐसा नहीं लिखा कि आप दो शादी नहीं कर सकते।
ऐसा नहीं, ये भी नहीं लिखा है कि आप जबरदस्ती कर सकते। मौलाना साहब, ये बात आपकी गलत है।
तो जितने भी शादियां कर रहे हैं, ये रजिस्टर करने में क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
नहीं,
रजिस्टर करने में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? आप रजिस्टर क्यों नहीं कर सकते?
सुनिए, ज़ीनत शौकत अली, मेरी बात सुनिए। कुरान में कहीं ऐसा नहीं लिखा कि आप दो शादी नहीं कर सकते।
नहीं, बराबर लिखा हुआ है, क्योंकि सूरह नंबर 4 127 में ये है कि अगर तुम अपने दिल से दूसरी लेडी को आप इक्वालिटी नहीं दे सकते हो, तो उसका मतलब ये है कि आपको डायरेक्शन मिल रहा है। मौलाना साहब, कुरान शरीफ सिर्फ एक पॉइंटर्स बताता है, उसकी जिंदगी कैसा गुजारना आज पॉलीगमी की बात नहीं है, उसमें
आज पॉलीगमी की बात नहीं कर रहे, आज पॉलीगमी की बात नहीं कर रहे, पर्सनल लॉज के बारे में बात नहीं कर रहे। मौलाना जी, हमारा सवाल बस इतने तक है कि रजिस्ट्रेशन करने में कोई दिक्कत तो नहीं है?
नहीं पढ़ा,
जितने भी शादियां हो, रजिस्ट्रेशन करने में तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है।
पॉलीगमी को बंद करना।
पॉलीगमी की क्यों बात करें? वो कह रहे हैं कि रजिस्ट्रेशन की बात है, तो पॉलीगमी उसमें किधर आया?
लिखा है कि पॉलीगमी को बंद करना।
किसने लिखा है?
नहीं, आप कुरान ने कहाँ लिखा है कि पॉलीगमी आप मुसलमान नहीं?
आप मेरे सवाल का जवाब नहीं दे रहे मौलाना जी। मैं ये पूछ रही हूँ आपसे कि रजिस्ट्रेशन करने में क्या दिक्कत है?
बहुत सारी मुस्लिम कंट्रीज आपसे ज्यादा समझदार और मेरे से ज्यादा समझदार।
Let me bring in Dr. Aijaz Ilmi. Dr. Ilmi, do you want to respond to this? My question is, let's just register them. I mean, what is the problem with registering them? Dr. Aijaz Ilmi.
नहीं,
every marriage should be registered, and especially in the Muslim community, because we have this issue. A lot of people do not give the rights, and it's across the board. It's an issue which about gender sensitivity, gender equality. We cannot have a situation where women, a married woman, can be you can deny her rights. I mean, it will add another level. It is very important. हुजूर, ये लॉ कमीशन की बात है, एक सजेशन आया है, you want to have an all India agitation against it, you can have it. You want to have an all-Indiaization, you can have it. But this matter will come up in a bill in a parliament, it will be discussed. You can bring forward your point and discuss it. We're talking about registration which gives rights, prevents crime, including child crimes, bigamy and other things. So if you want to insist on your explicit right, even your right is subject to conditions. Even your right is subject to conditions. If you can give equality to both the wives, then only you are allowed to get married the second time. That is your religion and my religion. But obviously, you will not say that. You will keep on harping. You will keep on talking about polygamy, char shadiyan, because that's your interest. But can you provide equality to the second wife? That's mandatory in your Quran, in our religion, to be equal to if you get married the second time under special conditions. Every Muslim country, they've changed the law.
Let me bring in Abha Singh. Abha Singh.
First wife to get married the second time.
Muslim countries have registered.
Abha Singh, you know, we could get into a discussion into personal laws and whether or not polygamy is allowed or not allowed, but that is a larger discussion for another day, and I promise this panel I will have that discussion on this show as well. But I want to focus on the problem at hand. One, I thought we were in agreement on this panel that registration is a good thing and that all marriages should be registered under all personal laws, whether it is Christian law, whether it's the Hindu Marriage Act, whether it is the Muslim Marriage Act or the Special Marriage Act. Everything should be registered. We were discussing whether or not Aadhaar should be linked, but it seems here, interestingly, that it is not unanimous, that we are not in agreement, Abha.
Exactly. Firstly, if there are 4 marriages as on today in Muslims, let it be registered. Let all the names of the 4 wives be registered. At least after that there won't be any problem when their claims or maintenance or custody of children comes in. So equality is a very subjective thing. So there are 7 ways in which in this country, 7 types of marriages. As you said, Muslim, Christian, different communities. Everything has to be registered, and that is what the Law Commission has said in its report. So that, of course, we cannot say that Muslims have a separate, these civil laws and hence they should not be registered. Right. So that cannot be taken at all. Every marriage should be registered. Yes, the only second point is debatable, whether Aadhaar, it should be linked to Aadhaar or not. Income tax, PAN card has already been linked to Aadhaar. Let us see how successful it is. Let us see whether there is a misuse of the information provided by income tax. And definitely first, let them make it foolproof that there is no data piracy. After that only it should be linked to marriage, because it's a very sensitive issue. You have honor killings, you have so many issues which women face. So many young couples are being put to death. Right-wingers have come in, left-wingers have come in, whatever. So we should not endanger the lives of anyone by just linking it to Aadhaar without looking into the other formalities, and that the government must look into.
Right, Patricia is on the phone line from Mumbai. Our phone lines are open. Our viewers can call in. Patricia, go ahead. What would you like to say?
Yes, since the government is so persistent with linking the Aadhaar card with ration cards, EPFM and PAN card and all these other things, they are forcing us to go to so much of inconvenience to get it linked up. What about them doing something to link it up to our election voters card? Why is that not being taken up? They could solve so many problems with this.
Absolutely. That's an excellent question. I'm going to take that question and we should spend a moment on that. Aijaz Ilmi, if we want to clean up the system, let's start by cleaning up the election system. Why not use it to verify all voters? Fingerprint us outside the election booth to make sure that there are no fake voter cards, no fake voter IDs.
Absolutely correct.
Well, most welcome.
Yes.
I think it's a valid suggestion which should get a lot of people should have a movement to get this on, and I'm sure the Election Commission and the Government of India will look at something like this. If it can clean up the system even further, then why not? It's a good suggestion.
It's a good suggestion. We're going to put it forward, actually.
So it's not just a good suggestion by Patricia. It's like a fantastic suggestion. You know, it's going to change the whole system completely. And, you know, the BJP is talking about transparency. I think this will be like really good transparency if you have, you know, Aadhaar linked to the, you know, election voting card, because you'll know that, you know, there will be no fake voters anywhere. So I think
this is, I must tell you, this is one of the reasons why we keep our phone lines open on all of our shows, because such brilliant questions and brilliant suggestions come in through our viewers. So Patricia, thank you for that. And we're going to push it here on this channel. We're going to take, various representations to the government, asking them, if you're so insistent that you want to look through everything, here is an area that you could perhaps use the Aadhaar information better at. N.K. Agarwal on the phone line from Kolkata. Go ahead, Mr. Agarwal.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'm speaking on behalf of my citizens.
Yes.
Well, citizens are the owner of the country, and from the very first day of his life till he dies, he gives tax to the government, whether rich or poor.
Mm-hmm.
Government always asks us do this thing, do that thing, and it is seen that the government always feels that the citizens are always thief and all this. That is why they are bringing such and such law. But after giving such tax from first day of his life to last day to life, at least the citizens can expect 4 basic things for his survival. Free education up to class 12, free medicine, healthcare to every citizen, cheap electricity and free drinking water. All across India, you go there, you will not find anything done by the government. We are the owner of here. We are obliged by every government dictate.
Okay. So all right. So I get your point that there are dictats right now about how we should live our lives, but we would like to see better services from this government first. Mahesh from Gurgaon, go ahead. महेश जी,
आधार कार्ड जी आधार कार्ड में इसलिए जरूरी है, इससे करप्शन फ्री इंडिया होगा, लेकिन इसमें जिसको आपत्ति है वो फर्जी शादी करना चाहता है, इसलिए उसको आपत्ति है, क्योंकि गलत काम करने वालों को हर चीज में आपत्ति होती है। करप्शन फ्री इंडिया, आधार कार्ड, प्रॉब्लम क्या है? ये जो बैठे हुए हैं, ये जो बुरा उनका 4 शादियों वाले इनको मना कर रहे हैं आधार कार्ड को, क्या कमी बताएं ये? धन्यवाद, थैंक यू।
All right, let me bring in Ramakanth Gaur one more time. Ramakanth Gaur, interesting turn for this debate. Go ahead.
See, the politicos have no intention to link this with the voter card. And this is very clear from the object of this statute. Attorney General of the country made the statement before the court in this regard. He says this is only confined to public distribution system, ration card and other welfare schemes. It has section 9 of this act specifically states that it has not been linking with the citizenship. So if the citizenship is not being linked, then the voter card is specifically isolated. So we all know that fake voter IDs are made, how the elections are rigged. So that is the basic reason why biometrics and other provisions envisioned in Aadhaar card are not being made applicable to the voters' ID cards. So that is the basic reason why these smart politicos have kept this provision isolated.
All right, that's a good point, but I just want to bring this conversation back to where we started because we're getting derailed. The question is the Law Commission, which is not a report to be taken lightly. The Law Commission has submitted a report to the government saying all marriages must be registered, and it's a very categorical and clear report. It says that the registrar should be held responsible. A marriage should be registered within a certain time of it actually happening. If it doesn't get registered within that time, the registrar gets fined 5 rupees a day. So it's very clear about what it wants to achieve. And then in one sentence, it says, let's link Aadhaar, the unique ID to all marriage registrations. It will help us keep everything in check. Apar Gupta,
when Supreme Court has specifically stated that this is only consensual and this is on the sweet will of the applicant whether he wants the Aadhaar card or not. In that eventuality, the government cannot foist its proposition
while that's a noble thought, Ramakanth Gaur, the representative of the ruling party has just told us that he went out and got an Aadhaar card because he realized that he couldn't do without one now that it's compulsory. So, while the argument may work in court, with all due respect, apparently on the ground, we're living in a completely different country.
Correct. So, administrative action is entirely different, and what is being argued before the Supreme Court from the Government of India side is altogether a different proposition. So this is something that the words are different and actions are different.
Just to come in here quickly,
Yes,
I would first like to indicate that the Law Commission gave this report pursuant to a reference by the Ministry of Law and Justice this year, dated February 16th. Now, given the unanimity on the panel that we need better data protection, we need safeguards for privacy, why did the government, and has the government till date made a reference to the Law Commission with respect to drafting a statute which gives citizens an enforceable right to privacy? The answer is no. Secondly, I would also like to pose that when you're trying to utilize a certain level of cynicism towards the political class, linking election iCards to biometrics and linking it to Aadhaar will not be a solution. The Aadhaar database by itself is generated on the basis of pre-existing ID proofs. Now, whatever would be the deficiencies in an election iCard, by them will be transferred to the Aadhaar database, because your Aadhaar number was generated on the basis of your election iCard, your driver's ID. And by the way, what is the category of people who have got their Aadhaars generated through this method? RTI from the UIDAI shows that 99.6% people who have the Aadhaar were on the basis of pre-existing IDs. Hence, what's the value of the database by itself?
What's the value of the database by itself? Aijaz Ilmi, why is the government in such a tearing hurry to include Aadhaar in various things when the Supreme Court is obviously still hearing the matter? You still haven't given me a convincing answer. Why doesn't the government wait until the Supreme Court is done?
Well, the Supreme Court has given clarity as far as the income tax issue is concerned, because it is linked, we do not fraudulent and people not paying their taxes. There were issues with that, which the finance ministry had put up. But on various other issues, we haven't heard the last word from the Supreme Court, which obviously have to be considered by the government of India. As far as this particular proposal of the Law Commission is concerned, it's evident that we all agree that registration should be done because it's in the betterment for gender equality and gender rights. On the second aspect of linking it with Aadhaar, it has to be debated. I'm sure that the pitfalls, the talk about data theft, privacy, all these issues which are relevant to a lot of us will be raised in the Parliament when the bill is actually introduced. And it's not linked to what the Law Commission said right now, Law Minister. This came into being in the UPA time in 2012, where the amendment was sought, which was passed by Rajya Sabha but lapsed because the Lok Sabha could not take it up. So it's a reintroduction of something that has been pending for the last 5-6 years.
So what the BJP spokesperson is trying to say is they're just carrying forward what work was done by the UPA. So it's like, when the questions are asked, they are at fault. Okay, and if there's no question and everybody agrees to what they're saying, then we are the ones who did it. It's like rebranding everything, renaming. It's like wrapping an old gift in a new gift wrapping paper and presenting it to people. There are a lot of questions. Like earlier when we started this whole discussion, I raised this question: is when you're linking your Aadhaar card with all this, what are you trying to get out of it? Is this just that you want to check whether the person is married before or not married before? I mean, if you're going to bring in all religious kind of things involved in this whole thing, in the current situation that's going on, I mean, it's going to only create more problems. So there has to be a lot of privacy. There has to be, the documents have to be protected. The Law Commission has just made a recommendation that we are going to, this is going to prevent child marriage, or it's going to prevent polygamy and everything. But they are not stating or verifying the fact that this is what we are actually looking at, and we are not going to do this or not.
Can I answer this? Can I answer this?
So the point here is there should be clarity. It shouldn't lead to something else which is going to create more problems.
But I'll tell you, Aijaz Ilmi, I'll tell you what the concern is. If there is a database, a centralized database, which is what the Law Commission says there should be, so that you can verify the people who are getting married, if there is a central database that somehow has a list of everyone under the Special Marriage Act, basically listing out every inter-religious marriage in the country, that has everyone under specific marriage acts, it by default hands over not just religious profiling, but also for someone looking for fodder for love jihad, it gives them a database.
So, no, you're revealing the identity of a person's married life. You're revealing the identity of individuals, how they're married and who they're married to. That's what it is. So a lot of people can misuse that.
Aijaz Ilmi, go ahead.
Well, can I answer this? Let me assure you, every marriage under Special Marriages Act which is specially for largely the use situation for solemnization of interfaith and interreligious marriages. It's already there in the court data and the district court where you have to register and give your details. So this data is already available.
No, this could be
so this argument doesn't really pass muster.
No, Mr. Ilmi,
Ilmi.
It's not a database you can hack into.
Mr. Ilmi, that's the point.
Sir,
it's not a database you can hack into right now.
You know, those court registers or, you know, those books are not easily accessible, you know, but this Aadhaar, which is a, you know, digital medium, can easily be hacked into like Face ID, and, you know, anybody can access it. So, you know, a lot of protection, and, you know, it has to be actually, you know, brought out in the open is how you're going to protect the individual privacy. That's the point here.
Zeenat.
In the present situation,
no, but the fact is that
world,
ramping up individual privacy is something that has to be done. The issue needs to be addressed.
No, Mr. Ilmi, Dr. Ilmi, in the present world when there's so much tension, now there was a Muslim and a Hindu girl and boy who got married, and who, you know, it was just mentioned that, you know, the hotel refused to give them a room. Yeah. You see, so now the whole point is that these kind of revelations can be extremely dangerous. So you have to understand that the protection of your privacy is a very important part in your democracy. You see, and that has to be very, very well preserved. So I don't see why you know, a marriage is registered. It gives you enough protection. How do you get the Aadhaar card one way or the other, which is going to, you know, which is going to hyper or superimpose on this? I don't understand this. And especially when the matter is sub judice with the Supreme Court, I don't think that we should even be talking about it till the verdict doesn't come out.
Dr. Ilmi?
No, which is why I was very clear that it's a suggestion which will have to be part of a bill which needs to be debated. The original suggestion of registering all marriages is a sound one. Linking it to Aadhaar is also another suggestion linked to this. It has to be debated, and I'm sure the best practices in the interest of the citizens is something which will come out in the bill. So which is why the Parliament is the forum for this to be debated. A law commission, this is not a diktat, it's a suggestion to the government to put it in the format of a bill which came earlier, revamp the earlier bill, represent it, and let it be debated and pass muster in the larger interest for registering and for promoting gender equality and gender sensitivity. These are the reasons why this has come about. But linkage to Aadhaar, let the pluses and minuses be thoroughly discussed within the country, in TV, in Parliament. Let there be a discourse and let the best practices be followed.
All right, so that's exactly what we're doing. Riaz Ahmed is on the phone line in Mumbai, from Mumbai. Riaz, go ahead.
Madam, I just want to ask the panelists that why don't you link Aadhaar to your education for doctors and engineers, because a lot of fake certificates for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes are being given to the college to take the admission. Why are you taking the U-turn and coming up to polygamy, bigamy, child marriage, and this? This is very important issue. A lot of problems are being created by the people by giving fake scheduled caste and scheduled tribe certificates. Thank you.
All right, so link it also. It is being linked to a lot of admissions. I can confirm that. Captain Jaspal Singh, Rohtak, is on the phone line. Captain Singh, go ahead. Captain Singh, can you hear me?
Sir.
All right, Aziz Chaudhry on the phone line from Chennai. Go ahead.
Yeah. See, I think as a wonderful debate is going on, the Aadhaar is a necessity has become. I feel that is a good move. All marriages in Chennai or Tamil Nadu are compulsorily registered. Have to be registered even if you get married through a Qazi, and who is also a government Qazi in Tamil Nadu, then the certificate has to be submitted to the registrar of the society, get it registered. The marriages are registered here, and if you want to avail the foreign entry, this has to be registered again, the Foreign Registration Act, into the State Secretariat, and again from the State Secretariat we have got to Minister of External Affairs. Then only any country in the world except that you are husband and wife. And I'm wondering that now I feel that I was just last week I was traveling all over India. I never use any other identity. I just kept Aadhaar. Wherever we show Aadhaar is accepted. So when they
okay, let me just switch sides for a second and argue on behalf of the government and behalf of the Law Commission that has submitted this report, because there is one point that has not come up yet, and my question is this, and I'll take this to Abha Singh. Abha Singh, when even when you meet, there are other religious ceremonies to solemnize weddings, but even when you have a registered wedding, in the registrar's office, they basically put out a little notice at that local office saying so-and-so is marrying so-and-so in the next 3 weeks. If you have any objection, please come forward. Now, it is very easy, even if you have to register a marriage in Chennai, to travel to Delhi or to Orissa or to West Bengal and get married again. How will anyone be able to verify the information from one state to another unless there is a central database of verification? Does that won't Aadhaar actually solve that problem?
Exactly, that is, of course, that is what is the issue, that we agree to that all marriages should be registered, but without interlinking it in the database. Very true, a person may get married in Hyderabad, go again in Jammu Kashmir, go to Orissa, marry again, or you have these Gulf sheikhs coming here marrying minors when a child marriage is not allowed. So to check all that, a database is required. So I think that is why the government, since it's already spending so much money in making the Aadhaar card, it would be saving money by connecting it to Aadhaar. But rather than just blankly, without looking into the logistics and without looking into the privacy and data protection, it should not link it to Aadhaar, rather than see if it can have an independent platform for marriages which can be interlinked and have its own database. They should study both the processes, and whichever is foolproof and it protects a person. Like as you said that you have to notify for 3-4 weeks before getting married. Let me tell you, a lot of young couples do not come and notify in the registrar's office, because in those 4 weeks, their parents locate them, either they are killed or they are house arrested. So these are the things which need to be looked into. India is a diversity, and we should not rush just because Law Commission. It is just a suggestion which needs to be debated and discussed upon. But yes, a database is required. Only then this registration would be successful. So we must look into whether it's going to be Aadhaar or some other data platform.
Zeenat?
Don't you think that, I would say that the person who the registrar, whether it is a qazi or a priest or whoever is getting married, has to be responsible enough. So when you make a marriage contract, there are certain questions and answers that have to be filled in, by both the husband and the wife to ensure this kind of database. And within the clause, and it has to be at a national basis. There has to be a constant. It cannot be different for Tamil Nadu and different from Maharashtra. It has to be singularly the same.
One nation,
all over
one
India.
law?
One nation, one format, I would say. Not one law, but I would say yes, one format. And when you fill in these details, and it has to also be stated that any kind of misinformation given is punishable under the law 5 years straight in prison, 50,000, not 2 and 3,000, and not 5 rupees.
How often is that imposed?
Yes,
that wrong information is given. When someone maliciously marries an underaged person, when someone maliciously marries the second or the third time without disclosing that information, how often does that lead to prosecution, really?
It doesn't. It doesn't. That's because you see, now for example, in a Muslim marriage, when, as Abha pointed out, that when sheikhs come and they get married to these minor children, and the qazi very merrily marries them, he has to be held responsible. That how could he do such a thing like that? And until that sense of responsibility is not inculcated, and he is not punishable under the law, whether it is a qazi or whether it is any other religious head who is getting married, or even a normal a kind of a marriage, that data information and misinformation has to be very clear. And I think that the first thing that has to be done is within the body of the marriage contract. If you have a clear body of a marriage contract with filling in this data, and if that data is like getting your passport, if you give the wrong data, then you are liable to be...
All right, let me bring in Maulana Rashidi. He has a rebut to this. Maulana, go ahead. Do you not believe that people should be held accountable? Because if we don't have one law, one format, uniform across the country, we'll never be able to regulate it when women are abandoned after marriage.
नहीं, देखिए 2-3 चीज़ें आप लोग मिक्सअप कर रहे हैं यहाँ। नंबर 1 तो मैं आपको ये बता दूं कि हमारे यहाँ रजिस्ट्रेशन जो है ऑलरेडी होता है, काजी के थ्रू होता है, जैसे अभी एक साहब ने फ़ोन पर भी बताया, ये सच्चाई है। अगर गवर्नमेंट को करना है रजिस्ट्रेशन तो हमारे काजियों को ऑथराइज कर दीजिए कि भाई आप ऑथराइज हैं आज के बाद में, और आपके जो रजिस्ट्रेशन है वो माने जाएंगे कोर्ट के अंदर। दूसरी बात, दूसरी बात यह है कि जेंडर इक्वलिटी हमारे यहाँ कैसे होता है, जब हम पोलीगेमी करते हैं, दूसरी शादी करते हैं, तो हमारा मकसद ये होता है कि हम दो बीवियों के अंदर बराबरी करें, इंसाफ करें, ये तो होता है। लेकिन जेंडर इक्वलिटी का शादी के अंदर कौन सी बात हो गई? तीसरी बात ये है कि जो लोग कहते हैं कि
जेंडर इक्वालिटी शादी के अंदर कौन सी बात होती है?
मैरिज अगर
आप समझाइए मुझे, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय जेंडर इक्वालिटी शादी के अंदर कौन सी बात होती है? प्लीज मुझे समझाइए, मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है।
करप्शन कहाँ से खत्म हो रहा है?
नहीं, जेंडर इक्वालिटी की बात बोले आपने, हाँ समझाइए थोड़ा सा।
बताइए क्या पूछ रहे हैं?
आपने कहा जेंडर इक्वालिटी तो शादी की मामले में होती नहीं है, क्यों नहीं
जो है? नहीं इसलिए नहीं हो। देखिए मैं बता, मेरी बात को समझिए आप। जेंडर इक्वलिटी का मतलब सुनिए, ये ज़ीनत शौकत अली ज्यादा पढ़ी लिखी हैं, शायद ये ज्यादा बता रही हैं। मैं इसलिए कहना चाहता हूं कि हमारे यहाँ जो है, अगर दो शादी करनी है तो उसके लिए ये बताया गया है कि अगर दो शादियों को आप अफोर्ड कर सकते हो, दो बीवियों को बराबर हक दे सकते हो, तब आप दूसरी शादी करो। तो इसमें जेंडर इक्वलिटी का मतलब क्या हुआ?
मौलाना साहब,
मतलब आपका ये कहना है, मतलब मौलाना जी आपका ये कहना है कि दो बीवियों को के बीच में इक्वालिटी होनी चाहिए, लेकिन मियाँ बीवी के बीच में इक्वालिटी कभी नहीं हो सकती।
दूसरी जगह लेकर जा रही है।
कितने शर्म की बात।
आपका ये कहना है कि दो बीवियों के बीच में हमेशा इक्वालिटी होनी चाहिए, लेकिन मियाँ बीवी के बीच में इक्वालिटी कभी नहीं हो सकती।
नहीं, मियाँ बीवी के अंदर तो इक्वलिटी होगी ही, लेकिन उसमें आप मुझे बताइए मैरिज कौन सा उसमें भागीदारी होता है कि भाई जेंडर इक्वलिटी? जेंडर इक्वलिटी के लिए बहुत सारी चीजें हैं। आप जो है उसको बराबर हक दीजिए, उसको बराबर हक दीजिए और अपने बराबर खड़ा कीजिए। जैसे आप लोग कहते भी हैं टीवी पे बैठकर कि आप जो है, औरत आजकल बराबर आ रही है, औरत क्या नहीं कर सकती।
लेकिन आपका जो कहना है कि मल्टीपल शादियां हो सकती, 4 शादियां हो सकती, वो तो बस मतलब
से हटकर चीजें हैं ना।
मेल की भी शादियां हो सकती है ना, कभी औरतें 4 शादियां नहीं कर सकते?
नहीं तो क्या जेंडर इक्वलिटी ये होनी चाहिए? आपके मुताबिक जेंडर इक्वलिटी क्या होनी चाहिए कि मर्द अगर 4 शादी कर रहा है तो औरत भी 4 शादी करे?
हाँ, क्यों नहीं होनी चाहिए? अगर आपके हिसाब से ये सही है तो फिर क्यों नहीं होनी चाहिए?
कैसे हो पाएगा? आप मुझे बताइए कैसे पॉसिबल है? हाउ कैन पॉसिबल?
Why not? If you're telling me, Maulana ji, if you're telling me that it is possible and acceptable for a man to have 4 wives, why is it not possible for a woman to have 4 husbands? She'll treat them all equally. There'll be equality among all 4 of them. She will assure you that all of them will be treated with the same amount of respect.
4 शौहर कैसे रखेगी?
तो आप 4 बीवियां कैसे रख सकते हैं? आप 4 बीवियां कैसे रख सकते हैं? समझाइए मुझे।
पैदा होंगे तो किसका बच्चा कहलाएगा?
आप 4 बीवियां कैसे रख सकते हैं?
देखिए, हम 4 बीवियां रख रहे हैं, तो अगर 4 बीवियों से बच्चे पैदा हो रहे हैं तो बाप मैं ही हूँ।
अच्छा,
सुनिए, बाप उन बच्चों का मैं ही हूँ, लेकिन एक औरत अगर 4 शौहर रखेगी तो कौन से शौहर का बच्चा होगा? कैसे तय करेगी औरत?
अरे उनके औरत के बच्चे हैं, शी नोज। और वैसे भी इट इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट टू राइट द फादर्स नेम एनीमोर, वो अपने खुद के नाम लिखेगी।
औरत के बच्चे, औरत से मुझे ये बताइए, आज तक हिंदुस्तान के अंदर क्या ऐसा हुआ कि फला औरत के बच्चे जा रहे हैं? जब भी बोला जाता है कि फला मर्द के बच्चे जा रहे हैं, फला साहब के बच्चे जा रहे हैं, औरत के नाम से सिलसिला नहीं चलता मैडम?
क्यों नहीं चलता? क्यों नहीं चलता? क्यों नहीं चलता?
इस्लाम
आप नहीं क्यों नहीं चलता? आप मौलाना जी मुझे समझाइए कि औरत के नाम पे क्यों नहीं चलता? माँ तो वही,
यूरोप नहीं है, ये हिंदुस्तान है।
ये हिंदुस्तान है। और in the eyes of the law, Maulana ji, we are all equal, men and women. I promise you, there is no difference between us.
आप उसको यूरोप बनाने की कोशिश मत कीजिए।
हम यूरोप नहीं बना रहे, हम हिंदुस्तान के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं। हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मर्द और औरत के बीच में फर्क नहीं है।
कैसे पॉसिबल है, मुझे बता दीजिए ना।
एजाज इल्मी, डॉक्टर एजाज इल्मी, शॉकिंग।
No, at first let me tell this Maulana साहब कि ज़ीनत शौकत अली इनसे बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ी लिखी हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा काबिल हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा सक्षम हैं। इस्लाम में, कुरान में, हदीस में इनका इल्म बहुत ज़्यादा है इनसे। पहली बात तो ये साबित हो गई। दूसरी बात,
आपकी सोच है,
आपको क्या
आपकी सोच
ज्यादा शौक है?
ये आपकी सोच है। अगर कुरान पढ़ी लिखी होती,
आप जो आपका शौक है 2-4 शादी का, उसको आप कंट्रोल में रखिए। फिलहाल एक बीवी की बात हो रही है, मैरिज रजिस्ट्रेशन की बात हो रही है, उस मौजू में बात करिए। आप टीवी पे, अरे छोड़िए।
Okay, let me just explain something to Maulana ji. Maulana ji, एक मिनट। हमारे शो पे हम एक दूसरे के ऊपर ऐसे बात नहीं करते, किसी को समझ में नहीं आता। ये उस टाइप का शो नहीं है। आप एक मिनट सुन तो लीजिए, सुन तो लीजिए। और जेंडर इक्वालिटी की बात हम यहीं से शुरू करेंगे कि आप जब औरतें बात कर रहे हैं ना, उनकी बात सुन लीजिए। जीनत जी प्लीज गो अहेड।
मौलाना साहब, सबसे पहले ये बताइए कि कुरान शरीफ में 6666 रफली आयतें हैं, उसमें सिर्फ एक आयत आई है पॉलीगमी पे, और वो भी बैटल ऑफ ओहद में जब औरतें बेवा हो रही थी, क्योंकि औरतें ज्यादा थी और मर्द कम थे। आज इंडिया में 930 आदमी में औरतें और आदमी है और औरतें हैं और 1000 आदमी है, तो पॉलीगमी कैसा प्रैक्टिस करेंगे?
30 सेकंड्स टू आभा सिंह।
समझिए, लॉजिकली आप समझिए आप क्या कह रहे हो। ये हिंदुस्तान में
आप कैसे कह रही हैं? आप सुनिए,
दे रही हूं,
आप उस डाटा को लेकर चल रही हैं। आप सुनिए,
I have 30 seconds. I want to bring in Abha Singh. Abha Singh knows that I don't stand for anyone on this show who tells me men and women are not equal and in any way.
I agree.
This is completely unacceptable. Nobody will get away with saying that women are not equal to men. Abha Singh, 30 seconds to Abha Singh.
नहीं हो पा रही हैं। आप कहाँ की बात कर रही हैं?
हम आज की बात कर रहे हैं मौलाना जी, आप थोड़े आउटडेटेड हो गए।
Constitution of the country says equality before law, equal protection of laws. The reason why triple talaq is being discussed in Supreme Court, because Hindi women have a right of equality, because Article 14 is violated when a woman is the fourth wife and a Hindu woman is the first wife, and her right to inheritance are different. That is the reason triple talaq, there are demands that it should be declared null and void. Accordingly, 4 wives also, Article 14, no, even 4 wives is violative of a woman's gender equality. It is a matter of time that after triple talaq, this would also be declared null and void by the court. Zeenat Shauqat Ali, no, even 25 said, the Article 25 said right to free religion.
Right. I have unfortunately run out of time. Obviously, a conversation on marriage laws and personal laws is the need of the day, and we're going to come back with it. I just want to put out one thing. I just want to put out one thing. The biggest and the most important book we have in this country is the Constitution. It is above all else, and it says very clearly that we are all equal, man and woman alike. And in this day and age, given how far India has come and how strongly we stand shoulder to shoulder with our male counterparts in every profession, every walk of life, and on every single street, we are supporting our households, we are raising our children, we deserve the respect. I will not stand and allow anyone on this show to even make the smallest suggestion that we are not equal. Whatever you think is okay for a man to do, I promise you, unless you also believe that it's okay for a woman to do, don't come and say it on this show. We will fight for women to have equal rights simply because that is the normal thing to do. And if anybody thinks that women are not equal to men, then their thought process is outdated and should be booted out. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.